Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, born in Stuttgart in 1770, stands as one of the most profound and influential figures in Western philosophy. His philosophical system, often described as absolute idealism, sought to comprehend the entirety of existence, history, and human thought within a single, all-encompassing framework. Das Ende des. Hegel's early life was marked by a rigorous education, first at the Gymnasium Illustre in Stuttgart, and later at the Tübinger Stift, a Protestant seminary. There, he formed close friendships with the poet Friedrich Hölderlin and the philosopher Friedrich Wilhelm Joseph Schelling, both of whom would also leave significant marks on German intellectual history. These early interactions fostered a shared interest in Greek antiquity, the French Revolution, and the burgeoning Romantic movement, shaping their intellectual trajectories. After completing his studies, Hegel worked as a private tutor for several years, a period of intense intellectual development and writing. It was during this time that he began to formulate the core ideas that would later define his mature philosophy. His first major work, The Phenomenology of Spirit, published in 1807, is a monumental exploration of the development of consciousness from its simplest forms to absolute knowledge. This book, written amidst the chaos of Napoleon's invasion of Jena, where Hegel was then living, reflects a sense of historical upheaval and transformation. The central concept in Hegel's philosophy, and indeed his most enduring legacy, is the dialectic. For Hegel, the dialectic is not merely a method of argumentation, but the very structure of reality itself. It describes a process of development in which a concept or idea, thesis, inevitably gives rise to its opposite, antithesis. This conflict or tension between thesis and antithesis is then resolved in a higher, more comprehensive concept, synthesis. The synthesis, in turn, becomes a new thesis, initiating a further dialectical progression. This continuous, spiraling movement drives all of reality, from the most abstract logical categories to the concrete unfolding of history and human consciousness. Hegel believed that this dialectical process was ultimately rational and purposeful, leading towards a state of absolute knowledge or spirit, Geist. Spirit, for Hegel, is not a supernatural entity, but the self-unfolding and self-realization of reason in the world. It manifests in various forms, including art, religion, and philosophy, each representing a stage in its journey towards self-understanding. Hegel's philosophy of history is another cornerstone of his thought. He viewed history not as a random series of events, but as the progressive actualization of freedom and reason. Each historical epoch, and the largest, with its unique culture, institutions, and beliefs, represents a necessary stage in this grand unfolding. The conflicts and contradictions within each epoch drive its transformation into the next, embodying the dialectical movement. For example, the freedom of the ancient Greek polis, while significant, was limited to a select few. The Roman Empire introduced the concept of universal law, but often at the expense of individual liberty. Christianity, with its emphasis on the infinite value of every individual soul, laid the groundwork for a more profound understanding of universal freedom. However, this freedom was initially conceived in a spiritual rather than a worldly sense. The Reformation and the Enlightenment further advanced the idea of individual autonomy and rational self-governance. Hegel saw the French Revolution as a pivotal moment, a dramatic attempt to realize freedom and reason in the political sphere. Yet, its excesses and eventual descent into the reign of terror demonstrated the dangers of abstract freedom, unchecked by concrete institution. Ultimately, for Hegel, the culmination of this historical process was the modern state, particularly the constitutional monarchy of his time. He believed that the modern state, when properly constituted, could reconcile individual freedom with universal law and social order. This view has often been criticized as overly conservative or even authoritarian, suggesting that Hegel endorsed the Prussian state as the pinnacle of historical development. However, Many scholars argued that Hegel's concept of the state was more nuanced, emphasizing the importance of civil society and the rule of law. His philosophy of right, outlined in Elements of the Philosophy of Right, 1821, explores the ethical life, Sittlichkeit, of individuals within the family, civil society, and the state. Hegel's influence on subsequent philosophy, political theory, and social thought is immense and multifaceted. His ideas profoundly impacted Karl Marx, who famously inverted Hegel's idealism into historical materialism. Marx adopted the dialectical method but applied it to the material conditions of society, arguing that class struggle, rather than the unfolding of spirit, drives historical change. Existentialist thinkers, despite their opposition to Hegel's systematic approach, grappled with his concepts of alienation and the struggle for recognition. The Frankfurt School, a group of critical theorists, drew heavily on Hegel's critique of modern society and his understanding of historical progress. Even contemporary analytic philosophy, often seen as antithetical to Hegelian thought, has found points of engagement with his ideas, particularly concerning the philosophy of mind and language. Hegel's writing style is notoriously dense and challenging, often employing complex terminology and intricate logical structures. This difficulty has contributed to both the mystique and the misunderstanding surrounding his work. However, those who delve into his texts are often rewarded with profound insights into the nature of reality, knowledge, and human freedom. His concept of Aufhebung is crucial to understanding the dialectic. It means to abolish, to preserve, and to lift up to a higher level simultaneously. This triple meaning captures the dynamic and transformative nature of dialectical development. Hegel's philosophy is not merely a static system, but a living, evolving process of thought. He believed that philosophy's task was to comprehend its own time and thought. This meant engaging with the concrete realities of history, politics, and culture, rather than retreating into abstract speculation. His lectures on the philosophy of history, art, religion, and the history of philosophy itself are testament to this comprehensive approach. Hegel's concept of freedom is also central to his system, and he distinguished between negative freedom, freedom from external constraints, and positive freedom, freedom to realize one's rational potential. True freedom, for Hegel, is achieved when individuals consciously align their wills with the universal reason embodied in ethical institutions. This is not a surrender of individuality, but its highest realization. The individual finds their true self in the community, not in isolation. Hegel's philosophy of art, explored in his lectures on aesthetics, traces the development of art forms from symbolic to classical to romantic. He believed that art, like religion and philosophy, is a way for spirit to come to self-consciousness. Symbolic art, such as ancient Egyptian architecture, struggles to express the spiritual content adequately. Classical art, exemplified by Greek sculpture, achieves a perfect balance between form and content. Romantic art, with its emphasis on inner feeling and subjectivity, transcends the limitations of classical form. However, for Hegel, philosophy ultimately surpasses art and religion as the highest form of spirit self-knowledge. This is because philosophy employs pure thought, directly grasping the rational structure of reality. Hegel's philosophy of religion also follows a dialectical progression. He saw religion as a form of consciousness, in which spirit apprehends itself through imaginative representations. From primitive nature religions to the more developed polytheistic and monotheistic faiths, each stage represents a deeper understanding of the divine. Christianity, for Hegel, represented the absolute religion, as it most fully expressed the idea of God as spirit, a self-revealing and self-reconciling being. However, even Christianity, in its imaginative form, requires philosophical interpretation to fully grasp its rational truth. Hegel's system is often described as panlogism, the idea that everything is ultimately rational and comprehensible by reason. This does not mean that everything is immediately obvious or simple, but that it can be understood through rigorous philosophical inquiry. His famous dictum, "What is rational is actual, and what is actual is rational," encapsulates this belief. This statement has been widely misinterpreted, often taken to mean that whatever exists is inherently good or justified. However, Hegel meant that reality, when properly understood, reveals an underlying rational structure and purpose. The actual is not merely what happens to exist, but what has achieved a certain level of rational development. Hegel's influence extended beyond philosophy into literature, art, criticism, and even theology. His ideas on historical development and the role of great individuals resonated with many thinkers. The concept of the world historical individual, a person whose actions embody the spirit of their age, is a Hegelian contribution. Napoleon Bonaparte was often cited by Hegel as such an individual, a figure who brought about significant historical change. Hegel's later career saw him as a professor at the University of Berlin, where he became a highly influential and celebrated figure. His lectures attracted students from across Europe, solidifying his reputation as the leading philosopher of his time. He died in 1831, likely from cholera, leaving behind a vast and complex body of work that continues to be debated and reinterpreted. The Hegelian school of thought, after his death, split into two main factions: the young Hegelians and the old Hegelians. The old Hegelians emphasized the conservative aspects of his philosophy, particularly his defense of the Prussian state and established religion. The young Hegelians, in contrast, focused on the revolutionary and critical potential of his dialectical method. They used Hegel's ideas to critique existing social, political, and religious institutions, advocating for radical change. Ludwig Feuerbach, a prominent young Hegelian, famously argued that God was a projection of human essence, influencing Marx's atheism. The legacy of Hegel's dialectic is evident in countless intellectual movements. It provided a powerful framework for understanding change, conflict, and progress. Even those who explicitly rejected Hegel's system often found themselves engaging with his concepts, either to refute them or to adapt them for their own purposes. His philosophy remains a vital subject of study in universities worldwide. Students continue to grapple with the intricacies of his logic, metaphysics, and ethics. The challenge of understanding Hegel is often compared to climbing a steep mountain, but the view from the summit is said to be unparalleled. His work forces one to confront fundamental questions about the nature of reality, knowledge, and human existence. Hegel's emphasis on the historical and social embeddedness of consciousness was a radical departure from earlier philosophical traditions. He argued against the idea of a timeless, disembodied reason, asserting that reason itself develops through history. This historical consciousness is a key aspect of his legacy. The concept of alienation, particularly as developed in the phenomenology of spirit, describes the feeling of estrangement from one's own essence or from society. Hegel saw alienation as a necessary stage in spirit's journey towards self-recognition. Master-slave dialectic, a famous passage from the Phenomenology, illustrates this struggle for recognition. Initially, the master appears to be the independent consciousness, while the slave is dependent. However, through labor, the slave transforms nature and, in doing so, transforms himself, gaining a sense of self-worth and independence. The master, on the other hand, becomes dependent on the slave's labor and loses his own connection to the world. This reversal highlights the dynamic and often paradoxical nature of power, relations, and self-consciousness. Hegel's philosophy is a grand narrative of the unfolding of reason and freedom. It is a philosophy that demands intellectual rigor and a willingness to engage with complex ideas. Despite its challenges, its enduring relevance lies in its attempt to synthesize all aspects of human experience into a coherent whole. Hegel's work continues to provoke, inspire, and challenge thinkers across disciplines. His insights into history, consciousness, and the dialectical nature of reality remain profoundly significant. The master of dialectics indeed left an indelible mark on the intellectual landscape. His ideas continue to shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. Hegel's concept of the absolute is the ultimate goal of the dialectical process. It is the complete self-knowledge of spirit, where all contradictions are resolved. This absolute is not a transcendent being, but the immanent rationality of the universe itself. Hegel's philosophy is often seen as a culmination of German idealism. He built upon the foundations laid by Kant, Fichte, and Schelling, but pushed their ideas to their logical conclusion. Kant's emphasis on the active role of the mind in shaping experience was a crucial starting point. Fichte's concept of the I as a self-positing activity further developed the idea of subjective freedom. Schelling's philosophy of nature sought to bridge the gap between mind and nature, anticipating Hegel's absolute spirit. Hegel integrated these insights into a comprehensive system where mind and nature, subject and object, are ultimately reconciled. The concept of recognition, anerkennung, is another vital aspect of his social philosophy. It refers to the mutual acknowledgement of individuals as free and rational beings. This mutual recognition is essential for the development of self-consciousness and ethical life. Without recognition, individuals remain alienated and unable to fully realize their potential. Hegel's philosophy of history also includes the idea of the cunning of reason. This refers to the way in which historical progress occurs through the actions of individuals who are often pursuing their own self-interested goals. Reason, in a sense, uses these individual passions and interests as instruments to achieve its own universal ends. The outcome is often different from what the individuals intended, yet it serves a higher rational purpose. This concept helps to explain how seemingly irrational or destructive events can contribute to historical progress. Hegel's lectures on the history of philosophy are particularly insightful. He viewed the history of philosophy not as a mere succession of different opinions, but as a dialectical development of thought itself. Each philosophical system, in his view, represents a necessary stage in the unfolding of truth. The contradictions within one system lead to the emergence of the next, driving philosophical progress. Hegel's philosophy is a testament to the power of systematic thought. He sought to create a philosophy that was not only comprehensive, but also internally coherent. His work is a constant dialogue with the history of philosophy, engaging with and transforming the ideas of his predecessors. The influence of his dialectical method can be seen in various fields beyond philosophy. In sociology, it informed theories of social change and conflict. In psychology, it influenced ideas about the development of the self and consciousness. In literary criticism, it provided a framework for analyzing the internal contradictions and historical development of texts. Hegel's philosophy is not without its critics, who have raised concerns about its idealism, its teleological view of history, and its potential for authoritarian interpretations. However, even his critics acknowledged the profound intellectual power and ambition of his system. To engage with Hegel is to engage with the very foundations of modern thought. His legacy is a testament to the enduring human quest for comprehensive understanding. The master of dialectics, Georg Wilhelm Hegel, continues to challenge and inspire us. His intricate system, though demanding, offers a unique lens through which to view the complexities of existence. From the unfolding of consciousness to the grand sweep of history, Hegel sought to find rationality and purpose. His work remains a cornerstone for anyone seeking to understand the trajectory of Western thought. The journey through his philosophy is arduous, but ultimately rewarding. It is a journey that reveals the dynamic interplay of ideas and their historical actualization. Hegel's profound insights into the nature of contradiction and its resolution continue to resonate. He taught us that truth is not static, but a process of becoming. This dynamic understanding of truth is one of his most significant contributions. His philosophy encourages us to embrace complexity and to seek unity in diversity. The dialectic, in his hands, became a tool for uncovering the rational structure of the world. It is a method that reveals the inherent interconnectedness of all things. Hegel's legacy is not just a collection of ideas, but a way of thinking. A way of thinking that continues to challenge and expand our intellectual horizons. His profound insights into the human condition and the unfolding of history remain indispensable. The master of dialectics, Georg Wilhelm Hegel, truly shaped the course of modern philosophy. His work is a testament to the power of human reason to comprehend the totality of existence. It is a philosophy that invites us to see the world not as a collection of isolated facts, but as a dynamic, interconnected whole. Hegel's influence on political thought is particularly noteworthy. His ideas on the state, civil society, and the ethical life continue to be debated by political theorists. He provided a sophisticated defense of the modern state as the embodiment of objective reason and freedom. This defense, however, was not without its complexities and potential for misinterpretation. Hegel's concept of freedom as the realization of universal reason stands in contrast to purely individualistic notions of liberty. He believed that true freedom is found in participation in a rational community and adherence to its ethical norm. This communal aspect of freedom is a key takeaway from his political philosophy. Hegel's philosophy of history, with its emphasis on progress and the unfolding of spirit, has been both celebrated and criticized. Some see it as a profound insight into the directionality of human development. Others view it as a deterministic narrative that downplays contingency and individual agency. Regardless, its impact on historical thought is undeniable. Hegel's work is a rich tapestry of interconnected ideas, each contributing to a grander vision. To truly grasp his philosophy requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to think systematically. The rewards, however, are immense. A deeper understanding of ourselves, our history, and the world around us. Georg Wilhelm Hegel, the master of dialectics, continues to be a beacon for philosophical inquiry. His ideas, though complex, offer a powerful framework for making sense of the human experience. He taught us that contradictions are not obstacles, but engines of progress. This transformative view of contradiction is central to his enduring legacy. Hegel's philosophy is a journey from immediate consciousness to absolute knowledge, a journey that mirrors the development of spirit itself. His work is a profound meditation on the nature of reality as a dynamic, self-unfolding process. The master of dialectics, indeed, provided a system of thought that continues to challenge and enrich our understanding. His intellectual ambition was unparalleled, seeking to encompass all knowledge within a single, coherent framework. This ambition resulted in a philosophy that remains a touchstone for intellectual inquiry. Hegel's insights into the relationship between the individual and the universal are particularly relevant today. He showed how individual freedom is not opposed to universal reason, but finds its highest expression within it. The dialectical method, as perfected by Hegel, offers a powerful way to analyze complex phenomena. It allows us to see the interconnectedness of seemingly disparate elements. Hegel's philosophy is a journey of self-discovery, both for the individual and for spirit. It is a testament to the human capacity for profound thought and systematic understanding. The master of dialectics, Georg Wilhelm Hegel, truly left an enduring legacy that continues to shape our intellectual landscape.